Hey everybody, how you doing? We're back. We're working on this. Today we are going to use the May Spring Pacific Blue, and we're going to mix it up a little bit. Instead of using the Amsterdam ink that we used on the blue the last time, this time we are going to use the Counterculture DIY Intense Color, and this is in Blue Sapphire, as you can very clearly see. We don't need a lot of resin. We're going to work on this center, or this negative space here in the dark blue. We're also going to add the next layer of pretties to these. So you can see I've already got a little color in there, or a little resin in there. I was just working on another project. We're not going to need a whole lot of resin for this. But I don't want to be short either. There's nothing worse than running short of resin and or color. But it's not going to take much. We are going to be working primarily with the Counterculture DIY because even though it is a very intense color, which you'll see in a second, it is also hella transparent, which is what we want for this layer. So let me, in fact, I think I'm going to put this stick in my other one. There we go. Because I want to show you this. Look at how dark that appears to be. Can you see that? But this is super, super transparent. Now, if you don't have this Counterculture DIY, you can use the acrylic ink. You could also use just acrylic paint. Both of those are also transparent. Just add a little bit of either one of those and you will get your color. And if you're not using blue, that's okay. You can use, you know, whatever your color is. Green, purple, red, pink. Just mix up a transparent in your color palette. Okay, so guys, I still have a cold, as you can plainly hear. I will try to edit out as much sniffing as I possibly can. We might end up with a little bit in there, so I apologize. And let me grab some sticks. I'm a little shy on sticks today. We're gonna put just a little bit of this. See, there's not much on there. Whoops. We don't have a lot of resin in here. We don't need a lot of pigment powder in it. Whoops, and I'm dropping pigment powders everywhere. Wipe that up. Okay. There we go. Now, this, I'm going to pretty much do the same thing I did last time. I want my darker transparent color on the outside. I want my glitzy luminescent pigments on the inside. So this, I am actually going to run around this. Like so. And then I'm going to take it right up through the middle of this. You can see I'm not making that very white at all. Like that. I'm now going to take a look. I think I want a little more over here. So I'm going to bring this down here. And the idea here, guys, is we want to add depth to what we already have. I don't want to cover up a lot of this pigment powder that we put down the first time. Okay. Now I'm going to add some of this translucent blue. And I'm going to add that to the outside edge again, just like we did the last time. And you can see there, those two colors don't touch across much of this span. And I'm going to put some on this side as well, just like we did the first layer. Okay. Now, in between those, I'm actually just going to put some clear resin, and I want to show you what this does. Now, you guys know your transparent colors really don't make effects. You're not going to get a lot of effect with those. Our Mayspring pigment powders, we can get some effects with. And the clear, I'm just going to use to physically separate the two. Okay? The clear will also help keep this layer transparent like we want it. Because we don't want to cover up all that prettiness underneath. We just want to enhance it. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to torch this because you guys have all know by now that the torch gets rid of our bubbles. Going to try not to catch anything on fire. Not making any guarantees. I seem to be a pro at burning tape. Okay, so now you can see how that first layer is showing through. That's what's going to create our depth. Now I'm going to get my heat gun. We're going to get it good and hot. And we're not going to touch it to our resin until it's nice and hot. Here we go. And I'm going to blow this first this way, very lightly, just a quick run of the heat gun. I actually don't want any bare spots here, so I'm going to put a little dab of clear in some of these spots that I don't have any resin. There we go. Then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Now I'm going to go with my heat gun straight up and down, 90 degrees to my canvas, right down the middle of this. And I'm going to stop and look. Well, I kind of like that. I want to keep that mica more to the center, I think, for right now. And I think I want to bring this way to follow this curve. So I'm just going to blow it the way I want it to move. On this side, I think I want to bring it this way. So I'm going to blow it this way, the way I want it to move. And I'm just going to slowly work this where I want it to go. And you can see I'm just working my resin really slowly. I'm not getting in any hurry. And I think that's honestly going to be it. I like how that looks. I want to move this a little more this way. And I think I'm going to leave that part. Now, I do want to work on these. Let's dress those up some more, shall we? They're kind of boring. I don't like boring. So I've got my blue mirror glass. And I think I want to build this up some more. And again, just like the first time we did this, I'm not going to get real worked up about which side of the glass is up and which side is down and blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to kind of pile it on here. Just kind of get it where I want it for now. Okay, I kind of like that. Sorry I'm quieter than usual, guys. I'm really still struggling with this cold really hard, in case you can't guess. I also want to put some more of this over here. This cold has just been horrendous, and for those of you who have been suffering along with me, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This one has been bad. And particularly when you consider I really haven't even had a cold in, gosh, 4 or 5 years. It's been more than a little while. So if I've got it this bad, I can't imagine how people feel who actually have autoimmune issues and dealing with this, or weak, even just a weak immune system. Now this is the champagne mirrored glass. And if you want to know where I get any of these, guys, go back to the Resin Basics 1 video, because I tell you right where to find my most used supplies. Okay. There we go. I really like that. I like the way that looks. And then over here as well. Pretty happy with that. There we go. And now on this layer, I think I'm going to start to add some acrylic gems. So I'm going to start with these bigger ones, I think. And I want to place a few of those. And I may or may not add more later. I don't know at this point. I may decide that it needs more. I may decide it doesn't need any more. That we're going to have to wait and see. And then these smaller ones, I want to add some of these as well. Kind of like that. And I kind of like that. We're going to keep it simple. So now I'm just going to take my clear resin and drizzle over the tops of all of that. And I will be adding another layer of drizzle when I do my flood coat. And we just want to drizzle that. We don't need to dump it on. It actually takes very little resin to secure your gems and your stones and your crushed glass. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing up here. I will tell you, if you coat your acrylic gems well, and you can drizzle it and still coat them. But if you get those coated well, they are shinier, I think. So I do try to get those coated really well. Okay, now I'm going to go over that with my heat gun. Here's a tip. When you have your acrylic gems, be careful with your torch or your clusters that you make with your resin molds. Be careful with the torch, because I have burned them both and put black marks on them. Not attractive. So I generally try to use my heat gun to avoid that. You still have to be a little bit careful, but not nearly as careful as if you're taking an open flame to them. And let's get this one. And heating this up will not only get rid of your bubbles, but it will also liquefy that resin and really get it down in there. Okay. Put that little guy back there where he belongs. There we go. Now I think I might want to put a little glitter on here as well. So I'm going to take a glove off. I don't generally like to glitter with a glove on. The glitter kind of sticks to the glove. And I think I am going to use my Sterling Snow glitter. And you just want to pinch a little tiny bit of it between your fingers. Look at that, guys. Is that amazing or what? And I just gonna very, very carefully, ooh, got a glob there I wasn't planning on. I'm just gonna very carefully sprinkle some of that over. Okay? Just like that. Now, if you do get a glob like I just did, like right here, see that little glob? Let me put my glove back on. Quick way to get rid of that. Take a little resin, drip it over, take your heat gun, blow it down through there, and that'll kind of help rinse that blob away, at least enough that it doesn't look like you just got a blob of glitter in your resin. So that's it, guys. That's going to be it for this layer. Little quick video today. But if you stay tuned, I think I might be able to come up with a little bonus for you. Hang on here. See you in a few. And by the magic of the internet, here we are. Woohoo! Okay, this is just, it is an oversized coaster mold. It's like a small, weird platter shape. Not sure what's going on with that. You probably saw me put the white on this on Instagram. And since then, I have added this white crushed glass. And now I need to flood coat this whole thing. So as long as we're here, got the resin, got the time. And these molds can be kind of tricky to work with, guys, just simply because you have to be careful not to burn your mold. Because if you do, if you get your resin in your mold too hot, it will melt your mold, literally melt your mold. And then you have a rough spot in your mold. That's no fun. So I'm just going to flood coat this quick with you, and I'll show you how I deal with the bubbles in my molds. Incidentally, guys, I'm working with my resin supplier, East Coast Resin, to come up with a bubble-free or a self-degassing resin. I'm going to run my heat gun into my resin pot here and pop those bubbles that were floating on top. That'll help. But you're still going to have some bubbles. How we come on that, I will let you guys know. I've been talking with Aaron quite a bit, and he's been asking me what I look for in resins and what would make the East Coast resin even better for artists. And he's just a super, super guy. So we're working on a few things together. So now I got lots of bubbles in this. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I am going to find my itty bitty torch, and I am going to very carefully torch this. Now this is gonna get out quite a few bubbles, but not anywhere close to all the bubbles. Okay, you want to be very, very careful taking any sort of flame to your resin when it's in a mold. I have ruined more than one of these molds, by the way. Okay, now I'm going to take my heat gun, and the trick here, guys, is to keep this darn thing moving. That's the trick. So, you can see I got lots and lots of bubbles. So I just have to keep this moving. I have to work quickly and carefully to get the bubbles out. Doing my very best not to overheat my resin and make it hot, because I don't want to melt that mold. So you just want to keep that heat gun moving. And that's going to be that. I'm going to let this sit for a few minutes. Let some more bubbles come to the top. And then I'll quick over it again. And I will do that several times between now and the time that this is just beyond working. So that's my little quick short today, guys. I hope everybody's having a great day. You have a wonderful time. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being my patrons and helping me with all of this. And we'll talk real soon. Bye-bye.